How's it going, everyone? Javita here with a Caveman's Guide to Forging. This is going to be kind of a mini series on how to forge very specific pieces of gear very simply and easily. This is mainly for beginner forgers and just to kind of introduce them to all sorts of really cool things that they can make fairly early on and without too much trouble as far as forging goes. It can get very complicated if you're trying to make very high-end gear, but you can still do really amazing things pretty early on with the forge. So what we're covering today is a changing chisel. It's what I have in my right hand, and if you look right here, changes block type special effect. Now I'm going to take this moment to sincerely apologize to everybody I misinformed. It even says special effect right there. However, this is targeted via the effect gum. So, okay, I guess it does have effect in the name. I don't know. But I had been telling, oh, you target this with the special gum because, I don't know, this screams special to me, but it's the effect gum. So, very sorry about that, but the amazing thing this chisel does is it will cycle a block through the different types. So we have our brick here and we can cycle it through the different brick types. We've got the wood over here, that's ancient, twisted, and then back to lustrous. Where this really shines is that you can also do this with gem blocks. So you can take your compacted diamonds, which diamonds are relatively easy to find, and change them into rubies. They are in pairs, so you can only go between diamonds and rubies, but for easy reference you can look at the environmental protection skills down here and see there's blast and burn here, which is diamond and ruby, and then over here is shock and chill, which is topaz and sapphire, and then over here is corrosion and toxin, which is amethyst and emerald. So those are the pairs that will cycle between. So topaz and sapphires are interchangeable, emeralds and amethysts are interchangeable. So the one trick is that you do need a gem chisel in order to do this. So this simple iron chisel just won't cut it. So that's what this video is all about. We're going to take a forge with no power on it, and we are going to forge it into a changing chisel with only using pure boon compound 1 and 2. So this isn't going to be the most pretty forging ever, but it should be very possible to do this. All you really need is your pure boon compound 1 and 2, some effect gum, and some setting resin. None of these ingredients require power on an extractor to make, so these are pretty easy and straightforward to get early on. The main limiting factor is going to be your gem chisel. The one qualifier is that I am spec'd for forging. So I have maximum stats to help with forging, which is going to be your 8 vitality, 8 power, 8 intelligence, 5 attribute bonus, and then the forging epic down below. If you're fairly early game, one of the things I might recommend is make a new character for the sole purpose of forging. I believe it's level 17 is the absolute earliest that you can get all of this stuff if you're going towards nothing but forging. Certainly if you have a dedicated crafter, after you get all your crafting skills that you're interested in, you'll eventually have enough skill points to invest into forging, which is what I did here. But you could certainly make a new character, quickly power level them to level 18 using mass crafting rock into stone or something like that. That's fairly easy to do, or just kind of go through the basic stages of the game and respec them afterwards. But anyway, let's get down to business here. So again, this forge has no power on it. There are 5 forges here. Only this middle one has power on it. And so as you can see right here, 0 power. And yeah, so let's begin forging. So like I said, you can target this with the effect gum. So I recommend putting at least 4 of these on here. And so each one of these gums will increase the likelihood of getting an effect boon. Usually there's multiple boons for each category, but for chisels, there's not really anything else effect can do, because effect usually does things like damage and critical strike and things like that. So yeah, chisel really can't critical strike, so the only effect boon that I'm aware of is the transmuting or the changing effect. So once you get your 4 gums on there, you're going to want to start off with your Pure Boon Compound 2, and you're just basically going to spam this button. It's going to add just a little bit each time, but we should eventually get there. So we're going to miss a lot, but it doesn't really matter that much, because if we get basically a full bar of this to go in, it should power up the boon pretty much completely. So as long as we don't run out of stability, we can just keep grinding this out. And there we go. So right there is our transformation boon. It's gray and it has 0 in the description down there. I can't mouse over it, but yeah, so it's not quite on there yet. We have to fill this bar up here. So yeah, there is the effect we're going after, so we just keep going. Ooh, that almost went in, but it doesn't really matter how many times we miss. Again, as long as we don't run out of stability, this bar will get bigger and bigger, and it will eventually go in. It's just a matter of time, basically. Ooh, that was a really low roll. And so as you can see there, depending on where the bar actually lands is how much of this bar actually gets pushed in. So if it lands really low, only a little bit of the points go in. If it lands really high, then a lot of the points go in. But if it lands in the gray, then it's a miss and nothing actually happens. So it's kind of an interesting strategy that goes on. Like, you get just like a tiny little sliver of empty space, then you can use a lesser boon compound to save both your vigor and, well, it doesn't really save your stability, but it mostly saves your vigor. But for now, we have way more vigor than we're possibly going to be able to use. And this might do it if we can land reasonably high on there. Ooh, so close, so close. So again, just keep going. So we're up to round 12. So I really haven't used that much so far. Since the first 4 rounds I was just putting on the effect gum. Okay, this might... Oh. That was a really nice roll, except we didn't have enough boon points to actually make it go in. So yeah, this is where having maximum vitality is quite handy, to be able to have the stability to just trug through this. And we're just like, surely this next one will do it. There we go. There is our transformation boon, and we are done. There's not really any reason to keep going. I'm not sure what else you can forge a chisel. Oh, you could probably get like the loot magnet on here, and maybe like a glowing boon so you could use your chisel as a torch. But really, with 600 stability left, there's just no real reason to do that. I mean, so put our setting resin in there, activate, and we are done. We now have a changing chisel that will be able to change gems into their counterpart. So there we go. It takes 19 minutes for this to complete, and changes block type special effect. So very, very nice. Okay, our changing chisel is done, so let's take a look at this. So we can turn diamond into rubies, we can turn sapphires into topaz, and amethyst into emeralds. So very nice. Hit them again and they go right back to where they were. So from right there, here are the 3 primary gems, and you can then turn them into their secondary counterparts. Since they have added new elemental planets for the other elements, this isn't as necessary as it was before. However, those planets are level 6 planets, whereas you can get these 3 gems on the level 5 planets. So in short, these are still easier to get. It's just now there are decent options to farm the other counterparts. So emeralds, rubies, and topaz. So anyway, this is a pretty invaluable tool for getting all the gems that you need, since you can do a whole bunch of diamond mining to be able to get rubies as well as diamonds. So very nice. Okay, so I got a random disconnect there, but a few notes on speccing. There's any number of ways to go about this. My personal preference or feeling of order of importance would be vitality. That gives you extra stability, which you can think of as durability on the forging process. If your stability reaches 0, the item is destroyed and the forging fails. Power, on the other hand, ups your vigor, which gives you kind of like energy to be able to use the different forging items. So that is a reasonably low priority. So I would go for vitality first. As soon as you can unlock epic 2s, come down here and get the forging epic, because that gives you an extra 20 flexibility on all the gear. Which flexibility basically is a measure of how easy it is to forge. So once you have the forging epic, finish maxing out vitality, and then it's kind of a split between power and intelligence. You really don't need a whole lot of vigor until you start doing the more advanced forging techniques. So you could probably balance your intelligence and power. Intelligence is going to increase your effectiveness, which is, let's see if I have a good example. So your effectiveness is this number right here, which is essentially just a percent. So each time you add your boon compounds, that is how much of that compound you actually get. So when we were forging that chisel, we were only getting 76% of the boon points we were applying. But as you saw, it really didn't matter because we just powered right through it because we have the maximum stability possible. So, and let's take a quick look at some of these forging ingredients over here. Let's see here. Here we go. Here's the effect gum, which you can see it's just gum base and viscous blood. The gum base itself, let's see here, I have to switch over to a different filter. The gum base itself, it does take syrup, which is basically just a whole bunch of sap, and let's see, here's an extractor or a refinery. Yes, here we go, syrup. So yeah, it's just a whole bunch of syrup, or it's just a whole bunch of sap, and an extractor makes syrup. So yeah, that's not very hard. And then your boon compounds are just going to be pulsating orbs, fresh vital essence, as well as the compound base. So let's see here, the compound base, that is going to be charcoal, which you just cook wood in a furnace. And reactive lamella comes from the really tall mushrooms. I think they're like mottled tar spotted fungus or something like that. So but yeah, that is forging kind of in a nutshell for beginners and making some pretty useful things. So anyway, I have plans to do several other ones, particularly like a loot magnet, because if you are a hunter, a loot magnet is just absolutely essential. If you're unfamiliar with what a loot magnet does, it draws in loot from farther away, but it also auto-harvests the corpses from the creatures, so you don't have to run around and actually hit every single creature just to get the loot out. You know, if you're doing meteors, it's invaluable. It's a huge convenience, even if you're not doing meteors, but you're still just going out and kind of killing random creatures. So very essential quality of life tool in my humble opinion. So I'll definitely be doing one on that and probably others going forward. So anyway, this was Javita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.